And how old are you?
32.
32.
Yeah.
How?
What do you
Yeah, no, we should...
That's the issue we have in our country. You got to use raping our kids.
Save our kids!
This is our country. How about becoming your country if you're in your kid?
Let's walk.
To avoid an escalation of the confrontation, I attempted to move Zaheen away.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Because I'm used to this conflict.
No, but that's
my...
no one should be used to that.
Well, Shamaan joins us now along with our political correspondent, Mari Aurora. Shamaan, that incident that we saw in the town centre there in Nuneaton, I keep opening my Twitter and seeing so many of those incidents being uploaded online and shared, which is a sentiment that it's got the whole country to this melting point of anger.
Absolutely, and that's what's interesting about Nuneaton as a town. It is a market town which has seen an increase in asylum seekers, but we're talking about an increase from in 2023, asylum seekers being in single digits, and now in 2025, around 247. Now, in a town with a population of 88,000 people, that number seems pretty small, doesn't it? But it's clearly having an impact in places like Nuneaton and across the country as well. And as you've rightly pointed out, those confrontations are being widely shared across social media. And actually, I think my initial thought after that confrontation was just how humiliated Zaheen must have felt in that situation, and how it's quite difficult to defend yourself, isn't it, in a situation like that. I didn't know what to say to de-escalate the situation. But I think what was quite interesting is when I was speaking to people around Nuneaton is that actually lots of the people that I approached that were from various ethnic backgrounds had spoken about an increase in what they perceived as racism and questions about their backgrounds and what they felt about asylum seekers too. And I don't know if it was clear in that piece, but Zaheen, the person that was confronted by this group, he's British, and that's what he had to deal with in that situation.
Well, your background was also brought into question. What was that like?
It's not the first time that I've been asked, and I think that ordinarily, you know, I'm quite proud of my heritage and proud of my background. It's not something I will shy away from, but in the context of this reporting, it was quite confronting, actually. Yeah.
And just thinking about the figures you said there, 240 people in a town of 88,000, if I've done my maths right, Mari, that's 0.3% of the population. And this is the challenge for the government, isn't it? Is there's a kind of a government of technocrats and statisticians and people that like facts and figures.
The lanyard class.
The lanyard class. They're not so good on the emotion, maybe, as other governments have been. And they'll look at this and go, well, look, the issue's not that big, but that's not the perception, is it?
Yeah. This is the problem that I think Labour is having at the moment, is politics is just as much about emotion and vibes, that has been historically said, as facts and figures. And the difficulty is you cannot win the narrative purely on facts and figures. You have to fight on both of those fronts, on the emotive front. And the difficulty is Labour have so far been perhaps slightly unsuccessful when it comes to that side of things. We've got the PM now back at work. We've got the Home Secretary giving her statement today in the House, talking about tightening up border security, talking about, you know, the different National Crime Agency raids that they've had and the number of boats that are falling, you know, since Labour have come to power, despite the fact that the boats are having more people on them. So the number of boats might be going down, but the number of people aren't going down necessarily at the same pace. And this is the difficulty, is that they are trying to make sure that they persuade the public that they are really got a grip on this and essentially bear with us, give us a moment and we will crack down on this. The difficulty is that if people don't feel that way, whether it's based in fact or whether it's based in hyperbole, Labour needs to, I think, spend a bit more time finding a way to tap into that emotional connection to the voters and actually find an emotional way of connecting with them in order to try and persuade them that they are doing a better job. Because if you look at the polling from what voters are saying, they're not very impressed with not just immigration but in general. You were talking about a poll that's out today saying how many people feel like the country is broken. 77%. And so they have quite a lot of a clean-up operation to do, having been in power over a year now, to persuade people that things are getting better.
And then you talk about vibes. I'm just looking at Elon Musk's Twitter feed, which is hugely influential. And like the first half a dozen posts are all, he's reposting Darren Grimes, he's reposting about migration, he's reposting about how the UK got so messed up. And this a lot of the people in towns like the ones you went to, Shamaan, will be really hooked in on this rather than what the government's saying.
Absolutely, and actually many of the people that I spoke to on the streets of Nuneaton were referencing news reports, not necessarily from Nuneaton, but from across the country. And there are so many people that do have genuine concerns, whether that's about the state of Nuneaton, it's about social housing. So many people I spoke to spoke about knowing people that were trying to get on the housing ladder but struggling. And as far as they see it, you have asylum seekers, 247, who they believe are benefiting from a system that they're not able to. But then on the flip side, speaking to someone that's currently going through the asylum process, he told me he's scared to leave the house because he understands how people feel about people like him. And I think it is really about having a conversation which not only humanises asylum seekers, but also really takes into account how people feel.